I'm recording on my DJI Osmo Action 4 today. I haven't used it yet. Today's actually night 3 of Speedweek. I wanted to record more, but the first couple nights, I was just too worried about making sure that I had, I knew where my clients were and, what I was shooting and who I was shooting for and all that stuff. So I just didn't, I completely forgot to start making a video. I'm trying to prop this up so I can do this. I completely forgot to record and make a video. And I was more concerned with my customers anyway. I wasn't too worried about my vlog. This doesn't make me any money. It's just something I like to do. So it was just something that I just had to kind of put aside and worry about the priority stuff, which is the paying customers. Those are the ones that are, more important than my YouTube channel. This doesn't make, like I said, this doesn't make me any money. Whereas the customers, they do. They make me money. So I just didn't do it. But tonight's night 3, we're at Plaza again. Night 1 was at Plaza. Night 2 was at Lemoore last night. And then tonight we're at Plaza again. Tomorrow we're off, which is 4th of July, and then Saturday we go up to Stockton at Delta Speedway at the fairgrounds. So I'm going up there. I don't know that all of my customers are. Some said that they weren't sure if they were going to be going up there or not. It just depends on how the week was going. So we'll see how many show up for Saturday and how many customers I have on Saturday. But right now I'm getting ready to go to Plaza. I'm getting all my bags and stuff ready. So my bag, my drone. This is my main video camera. The one that I use for all my social media reels and photos and stuff is in here. This one is just kind of for long form stuff, which is plugged in still. So this is the one that I use for like the more artsy cinematic type stuff that looks cool on YouTube and looks pretty, that kind of thing. And I actually got an anamorphic lens. So this type of lens, the lens cap's on. This type of lens is the type of lens that a lot of movies are filmed on. And so you can kind of see it. If I have any clips done while I'm editing this video, I'll show you guys kind of the characteristics of it. But essentially you just take a normal lens, a normal camera lens, and then on the front, the very front element, and there's other parts on the inside too, it gets more complex than that, but I'm just kind of simplifying it. Instead of it being spherical, like most lenses are, it's anamorphic. So the front doesn't curve like this, it curves side to side. So you get the same height, essentially, as whatever camera you're using, whatever the sensor is. You get the same top to bottom, but now you're getting more left to right. So it's kind of like a wide angle, but instead of being, the whole frame is now a wide angle, now it's just left to right is wider angle, so you can fit more into it, so it's more compressed. The biggest thing with anamorphics is, like, if you've ever watched a Michael Bay movie, they flare really cool. They have really cool looking flares, and so that's why a lot of people use them, just that flare. And a lot of people use them because they just have a certain texture, they just have a certain look to them, and they just like the way it looks, and so that's why they shoot on them. I just wanted to try it because it seems to be a thing that's going around. I've never used one. I do like the way they look, but I've never shot in anything other than regular camera glass. I've never shot in a cine lens or an anamorphic lens. So I just wanted to see, the texture looks cool and everything. So I just figured, why not? The only downside to it is it's a manual focus. I just wanted to get it simply to try it out. I don't expect crazy results from it or anything. I hope that it looks good, as far as a lens goes. Like I said, the downside is manual focus. I got to stay on top of that. So I have to use the focus assist in the screen to make sure that everything's in focus and that, I'm looking at the right thing, and then I've got to make sure the exposure is right because it's completely manual focused. And it's manual aperture, meaning I can't set it through the camera. But with this lens, it's manual focus and manual aperture. So I can't tell the camera to focus on one thing or the other. I could have it auto white balance or auto ISO if I wanted to, the light sensitivity. But the thing is, there's such a stark difference between some ISOs. Like if I were to go from, I think it's 2500 to 3200, 2500 is very grainy. And 3200 is the second base ISO for the camera. So it gets very clean, and I don't want to sit there and bounce back and forth based on exposure. I want that to stay the same. All right, so we just finished up night 3 at Plaza Park for Speedweek. I didn't get to you guys sooner because I got here, and as soon as I got here, I had some of my clients get a hold of me, and they wanted, you know, specific pictures and videos, things like that. So I was, you know, doing what I needed to do to make the customers happy. So I wasn't able to pull out the camera in time before all the cars, you know, hit the track and you know, the noise got too loud. I wanted to do that, but the cars are so loud when they're on track that even with this microphone, it just takes over and kills it, and I just can't save it. If I had something that I could put right up against, you know, my mouth, or something that was super directional that I could point right at my face while I was recording, it would work. But with this microphone that I have right now, it just can't do that. So it was a good night of racing. Like I said, I didn't get to talk as much as I wanted to before. So tomorrow, I'm in my car, obviously. So tomorrow, while I'm at home, I'm gonna edit and try to get through some photos and some videos and see what I can do just to make my life easier next week before I head up to Delta to Stockton Saturday morning. I'll talk a little bit about it more tomorrow, just because it's, by the time I get home, the kids, the wife are gonna be asleep, and they're not gonna want to hear me talking about this stuff. So I'm not gonna sit there at my desk and try and make a whole video. That's why I'm doing this on the way home, so I can just do this real quick. And then tomorrow sometime, probably in the afternoon, I'll get on for a couple hours before we head over to the in-laws for 4th of July stuff and do fireworks, barbecue, all that stuff. And we'll just talk a little bit about it. If there's some videos and stuff that I have that I think are cool, that I like, you know, throw in there. But the racing was good. The track was good. The track turned out better than I thought it was gonna be. It was real dry when I got there. I mean, I meant to pull out the camera and show you guys. It was really dry. It hadn't looked like they put water on it in like 24 hours. It had been a while. And so it was just, I wasn't sure what it was gonna be like, because they waited until about an hour before hot laps to put water on the track. And so, like I said, I don't know if or how much they watered it before that. So I just wasn't sure what the track was gonna be like. And so it was just kind of, you know, a toss up, because like I said, I didn't know, I wasn't sure what to expect. But it ended up being a really, really good track, all the way almost up against the fence. I think there was only maybe half a car width between the edge of the cushion and the actual guardrail. So it was all the way up there. It had plenty of rubber. It made the top good, made the bottom good. The top was the preferred line for the most part. There were some good sliders. There were some big wrecks, you know, some sliders that weren't quite completed. You know, they weren't quite clean, and involved in some people, you know, going over. But other than that, it was really good racing. I don't remember exactly who all won, because like I said, my mind's going a bunch of different directions when I'm out there doing that stuff, so I can't remember exactly everybody that won. I do know Junior was Lee Uzel. He won the second time in a row, and so it was cool to see. He was one of my clients for this week. He won last night in Lemoore, and he won tonight in Plaza. All right, guys, it's Saturday. I'm getting ready to leave Visalia and head to Delta and drive up to Stockton. I made a pit stop, got some caffeine, water, snacks, things like that, you know, road trip essentials. I'm gonna hang you guys up on this little bracket right here on the seat, do a little time lapse so you guys can kind of see just the road trip up there. I'll make it, you know, pretty short and quick, just so you guys can see the road trip. And then when I get there, I'll just figure out where I'm supposed to go. I haven't been up to Delta in a long time, so I don't 100% know where to go. I know where everything is as far as the track and parking lot goes, but ticket booth and all that to get a wristband and everything, I'll figure that out when I get there. But yeah, I'm gonna start the time lapse, and then I'll see you guys when I get there. All right, so here we are, we're at Delta. Real small track, like a bull ring. It's not very big. You can see there's banks. Even the front and the back stretch is banked. Track entrance is right here, and then track exit's just over here on the other side of this truck. I've been up here in 7 or 8 years. It's been a while. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of shots I can get. I'm gonna get all my shit ready now and go walk around the pits and get some stuff for my clients, things like that. It's on Fairgrounds. It's like on the south side of Stockton. I don't know how long it's been here, but it's a nice facility. It's always very nice. The track is always really well manicured. The grass is always really nice. The whole facility is just awesome. The Pinellas that own it, I want to say it's Bob Pinella, I don't remember. They own it. They always do a really nice job. The one thing I like about it that's different than a lot of the other tracks is they have a big scoring tower up here that they use instead of just, you know, a big board or like Plaza has a board and it's like top 5, I think. Lemoore has top 10. But I like scoring towers. It's kind of like a NASCAR thing, or like Indianapolis. That's kind of where I get it from, and I like that. It's just really cool. But it's a really nice facility. We'll see how the racing is. It's been good all week. I don't expect it to be any different tonight. One of the signature things with Delta is they got this big red water truck that they use. They use this to water the track when they need to, and you know it's Delta when you see this, because the whole thing's just red. It says Pinella on the side, but it's really cool. And then they've got this little Geo tracker, whatever, that they use for pacing and pushing cars and things like that. So it's a nice facility. It's really cool. I'm gonna show you guys the trophies real quick. So there's 2 sets of trophies. There's a small set for the winners, the race winners get those. And then there's a big set that the champions will get later tonight. I don't know if they're gonna do anything special for the championship ceremony. I think they will, they usually do. So hopefully they do, but this is what the bears look like. So they're pretty cool. They used to always be handmade. I don't know if they are anymore. I don't know where they come from, but this is what they look like. This is the big bear. So these ones are 1.5 tall. Those ones are 2 feet or so. 1 for each class: junior, A class, restricted, non-wing, and outlaw or super. So they'll each be handing those out tonight. The little bears have been being handed out all week. Those are for the winners get, and then the champions get those big bears. We'll see who gets those tonight. I don't know who the leaders and points and stuff are. I just haven't looked at it. I meant to look at it so I could talk about it a little bit, but I just didn't. I'll try to remember to do that later. But yeah, I'm gonna go get my camera and I'm gonna go walk around the pits and find my clients and get some miscellaneous shots for them, so they have stuff of, you know, kids getting ready and things like that.
Driver's meeting got moved to 5 o'clock. Driver's meeting's at 5 o'clock at pit check.
Okay, so they moved the driver's meeting back. It was supposed to be in about 10 minutes, but they moved it back to 5. So it went from 4:30 to 5. So actually, I'll pull up my race pass right now. All right, so it looks like Super 600s, Jet Yanis is leading by 77 points over Cole Schroeder and Austin Torgerson. For restricted, it's Cole Bezio, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He's leading over Briggs Davis by 12 points, with Braxton Vasconcelos in 3rd behind 22 points. Non-wing, Jeffrey Pahuli over KJ Snow, only by a point. So that's gonna be very critical tonight, because Eric Botello's in 3rd by only 9 points. So that means that every position is going to matter for them. And Pahuli needs to make sure that he beats Snow for sure to be able to beat him in the points, but he's also got to make sure that he keeps Botello behind him as well somewhere. Junior, Lee Wiesel absolutely dominating, 72 points. He's won 2 races. He won Lemoore and he won Plaza Thursday night. Logan Lavarnway, 981 points, and then Huxon Roush in 3rd, 83 points out of 1st. And then finally A-class, Jet Yanis again in the lead. Maverick Myrick in 2nd by 37 points, Cash Levenberg in 3rd by 75 points. So I don't know the spread as far as what, like, the points that you get. I don't know if there's points awarded for qualifying or points awarded for heats or anything like that. So I don't know how critical any of that stuff will be. But like I said, that non-wing class that's very close. That one's gonna be between KJ and Pahuli. They're both, like I said, 1 point away from each other. So Pahuli's gonna need to make sure that he keeps KJ behind him at all times, just to ensure that he doesn't get any edge over his points if he wants to win the championship. And KJ is gonna have to make sure he can do everything to get around Pahuli and not ever get behind him. That way, no matter what happens, he's got as many points as he can to help him get that win. But we'll see, you know, when race time comes. I'm fairly certain Yanis has probably got the outlaw wrapped. The kid's very fast, he's very consistent. You know, obviously, other than something out of his control happening, you know, car making a mistake in front of him, anything like that, you know, could take him out of contention, he's probably got it. A-class is close-ish, 30 points between Yanis and Myrick. Myrick is very good. He has those nights where he's just on rails. I think the only person that might have something for Myrick in that class. Oh, well, no, actually Pereira isn't doing A-class, so he's not gonna have Pereira to worry about. When Pereira is on the track and it gets to the fence, Pereira is just on another level compared to everyone else. When it ends up just the top track and you have to keep your foot in it around pretty much the whole lap, all the way around, Pereira just has an ability that nobody else has, and he can just put his foot in it and he knows exactly what to do, and he's able to just walk away from everybody. I mean, just walk away. He did it the other night. So we'll see how it goes. After tonight, I'm driving 45 minutes or so south of here to go to my sister's house to spend the night before I drive back to Tulare, or back to Visalia, which from here is 2.5, 3 hours. From there, it's only about just a little under 2 hours to get there. So I'm staying there that way I don't have to drive, because I'm probably not going to leave here until about 1 in the morning. So I will update you guys in the morning to see how everything went. We'll go over the winners, you know, in each class, the championship winners in each class. I would like to get more in depth with this. I have too many clients tonight to be able to really put the effort into it that I'd like to, but I would like to be able to talk to drivers after races and just ask them questions outside of the winner's circle, so there's not as much pressure for time. You know, they can calm down and gather their thoughts a little bit after they're done racing, and I can talk to them about, you know, what it is they do. I just don't have the time to do it today, or this week I haven't had the time. I just have too many clients, too much that I need to do, so I can't really worry about it too much. And usually once the races are done and I actually have time to do it, half my clients are gone. They've already left the track. So in the morning, I'll just update you guys, and then we will, I'll see you guys then, and then we'll talk about who walked away with the big bears and you know, who were the big winners. If anything big happens, you know, I'll talk about it. Fast 4 Media is the one that does all the coverage for this type of stuff. They're doing most of the micro races in California this year. So if you guys, I know it'll be too late by the time you see this video, but if you want to catch any other micro sprint racing action in California between, I believe it's Delta, Plaza, and Lemoore is the majority of where they're going to be. I know they're going to Deming for Clay Cup. I may be there. I don't know yet, but we'll see. But yeah, once the races are done, I'm going to head back. I'll edit a little bit of what I have just to get it to the people that need it, and then I'm going to go to bed. And then, like I said, in the morning before I leave my sister's house to go back home, we'll talk a little bit about the races, and then anything else that maybe I feel like talking about. But until then, I'll see you guys later.